Hello there. Today we're going to do a brief instructional video on the setup and connection of the Circuit Abbey Intermix. And just to make it slightly less boring, I've added a tiny little bit of background sound in the reverb sends. So the Circuit Abbey Intermix is a really handy CV mixer which can be used as an expander for a couple of different modules using a couple of different connection techniques. So we'll take a look at that right now. Let's go ahead and zoom in a tiny bit here. First thing to note is the handy shrouded power connector right there. Nice. Second thing is there's two modes you can use. In one mode, these two jacks right here are maximum and minimum, and in the other mode there is essentially a submix of the left and submix of the right. Those are controlled by this pair of jumpers right there. So you need to change both jumpers and you can pick between the two modes. Now, as far as actually connecting things in and out, what we have up here are two parallel input connections. So you have one right here, which is on a 16-pin header, and you have two here, which are on 8-pin headers. And these are parallel things. So you don't want to connect them both up. You want to use one or the other. Use both, bad things will happen. So let's go ahead and start connecting things up here. And go back the other way. And first of all, we'll go ahead and connect up this handy little thing here, the G8, which is a really nifty little counter clock divider gate trigger thing we'll be seeing a lot more of. And if you look at this, it has a handy 16-pin header, and the 16-pin header is labeled expand, and there is a clear label for the stripe. So it's pretty simple. What you do is you take your 16-pin cable, which is furnished with the Intermix, and then you go ahead and plug it in with the stripe down, like so. And then you go to the Intermix, and again the input is clearly labeled with a stripe, so we simply clumsily plug this in, and everything should be good. Okay, so that's how that stuff is connected together. And we can go ahead and rack this guy up like so, in some fashion, messily. Now, the other way you can connect things is with some other modules, such as the 4MS quad LFO right here, quad pingable LFO, excuse me. And so to do that, we would use these 8-pin headers here, and we would look at the quad LFO to find the corresponding 8-pin header. And in the case of the quad LFO, it is right here and has a nice clear stripe on it. So we take our handy 8-pin cable, you get two of them with the Intermix, and we made up stripe to stripe. Boom. We're going to use the left, so we made up stripe to stripe. Bim. And that's how you would connect a quad pingable LFO. Now there's a third thing you can do, and that is you can chain intermixes, which is essentially adding, if you look at the Intermix G8 combination, for example, as a little sequencer where you have 8 steps, or really, it's not really quite like that. It's way more sort of expandable because of the different modes of the G8. We can expand that to a second row of 8 controls simply by disconnecting from our quad pingable LFO. Thank you. And we can take a second 16-pin cable, like so. We go from input of this guy, which is going to be our second one, and we connect that to the through connection. Let's see if we can arrange this so we can see this. To the through connection right here on our first one. This is going to be funny cable routing because I'm got it all backwards for you. So at this point now, we would have two of these driven by an upside down one of these. So hopefully that will provide you with some tips on how to hook this really nifty unit up. There are several other 4-output modules that can be used as inputs for this, or if you have some kind of do-it-yourself thing that has 4 outputs, this is a real handy addition, or 8 outputs. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for listening.